Well, hello, listeners. I have Chelsi Webster in the house with me today. Woo woo.
Hello, everyone.
She's here. You might remember her from, goodness, it's been over a year now. Mm-hmm. And we talked about, my goodness, it was like food around the holidays.
Yep, Holly Jolly or something like that.
Oh, there we go. Holly Jolly. And your testimony too. And just like things that God had done in you and even your health journey. I remember chatting about. And Chelsi and I were just chatting that on her way here, she feels like a completely different person than the last time that she was here. Share a little bit about that.
Yeah, if you'll recall, I had just had a grief-filled year. After a beautiful little, healing, I had lost someone very close to me, and you had as well. Yeah. So we kind of both had that in common. But I feel like even though I was in the valley at that time, the Lord's with you there. And I knew he was, but you just kind of have to survive for a little bit. And now I feel like I'm at a point where I'm thriving again. And just awesome. Like new life is coming from the ashes, which is just our God is a resurrection God.
Yes.
And I feel like that's where I'm at. So I just had so much gratitude on the way here, and it's a sunny day, and just God is so good.
That's awesome. I feel like it's just so wild to me at like how God has just thread his beautiful touch through this podcast. And Rob and I were literally just talking about that, about thriving and getting out of survival mode, because she's been in an area of burnout too. And she's been super open about that on the podcast. Both of us, our health has been just all over the place. Our mental state has been the last time we recorded a few days ago, we just kind of laughed because we were just both having just a terrible day. And then we come in here and we're like, man, God is good. And then you just have to have those moments of God is good. No matter what's going on, God is still good, no matter what we just walked through in this day. And so just that gratitude, right? Mm-hmm. And that choice of no matter what is going on, God is still good, and there are still good things happening, no matter what it looks like. So yeah. So today I'm excited to talk about kind of this sense of food as medicine and eating food to thrive and not just survive. Because I feel that it's way too easy when you are in grief, because that's where I was at. In the last year, I just was kind of eating to feel comforted a lot. Because, that dairy, yes, I'm just getting off of a 30-day dairy fast, and I'm going to be starting to incorporate it back into my life right now. But it's been just so interesting, right? To even find that foods can be idols.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, fasting from that was a really good reminder for just not only myself, but for my entire family of oh, wow, you can really look to food like God. Almost. And it kind of had been like that even with my daughter. She'd look at Dairy Queen and she'd be like, oh, dairy. And I'm like, we shouldn't be looking at any food higher than God, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. My patients deal with this for sure.
Oh, I get it, And so I don't know. I'm excited and curious just to hear how it kind of switched in your head. And, was that something that you ever struggled with yourself? Was just eating food for comfort? Was that something that you ever experienced, or not too much?
Yeah, I've definitely struggled with that. So as a teenager, I think I shared previously that I had an eating disorder. So food itself was not the idol for me. It was control. So food was a thing I could control when I couldn't control other things, but control was the idol for me because I wasn't allowing God to be God in my life.
Yeah.
I wanted to just, food was also comfort though there too, right?
Yeah.
So I was isolating myself from other people. So food gave me a lot of things. It met my need for control. It met my need for comfort when I wasn't getting comfort from emotional connection with other people. But it's so shallow, and you've probably experienced that, and I feel like my patients experience that too. It's kind of like when you have this huge need for emotional connection, and for surrender, really, right? Surrender to God is so freeing. We feel like it's not oh my gosh, it's so scary, but it's it's so freeing.
Yeah.
Way more than control. So you have these needs buckets for these, right? But using food to fill that need is turning the faucet just so it drips in one drop at a time. You need such a big quantity to meet those needs, it's such a low quality way to do it.
Yeah.
Versus like if you have a really deep, meaningful conversation with someone that you love, in a half an hour, your bucket is overflowing.
Wow.
You know? So that's something that I couldn't see then.
Yeah.
But now, and having worked with people,
I think it's hard for people too sometimes to think about like, does another person have time for me right now to have a conversation? You know what I mean? Because like even thinking about that of just like in that moment when you need comfort, sometimes people are just grabbing food and you don't even think about why you're doing it.
It's subconscious, a lot of it, because it becomes a habit, right? So our subconscious mind is programmed by repetition and emotion. So the more you do something, the more that program gets put into you, and then the more emotion, the stronger the emotion that's with it. So if you get a lot of positive emotion when you turn to this food, you are training yourself that that's going to be your autopilot, you know, response when you're like, I need comfort. I need ice cream right now.
Yeah, right.
My Dairy Queen. And that works. Like your subconscious mind is like, oh, that worked in the past. Let's keep doing that.
Yeah.
Your subconscious mind isn't concerned about the long-term effects of that though.
Oh,
right?
absolutely not.
So then all of a sudden your conscious mind is like, oh my gosh, no, I want to stop this. But your autopilot is still going to be to go to that food for comfort. So it has to be a conscious, intentional process, like you just did with the 30-day fast.
Yeah.
That's one of the best things you can do is to like reset. Like, nope, you're retraining your subconscious mind because it takes about 21 days to create a new neural pathway. So that's 30 days is probably a good way to kind of reset that.
Yeah. That's really interesting. So it is just mind blowing to me that, you know, the whole American culture, it's like all about just comfort and quickness and convenience. And it just makes it really easy to follow that flesh. Right. And it's like when you need something quick, it's like there's so many drive-throughs and
temptation is everywhere.
Oh, it's everywhere, literally everywhere. And we have fast food restaurants on every block, and it just meets that need of people who are just like, I'm running so-and-so to gymnastics or heading to Bible study, and I just need something really quick. And then you're getting like a quick hit, and it's like, oh my goodness. And not to even mention like all the sugar that's in those food sources that just get you to keep coming back for more and more.
They're hyper palatable. Yeah. They're created to keep you hooked. And I mean, they have people who literally like study kind of addiction. I mean, but that's like, how do we sell this product to people? So it's a business. And unfortunately, you know, I'm not saying anything against them. They're trying they are feeling a need for people, but their primary goal is not your health.
Right.
You're responsible for that.
Yeah. Would you have tips and tricks that when you go out to places and you like, are you preparing things and snacks so that you don't get into a temptation situation where it's just like, oh, I need something right now?
Definitely. So something that I tell my patients is this: if you fail to plan to fail. You know, you can't just expect that you're going to make good choices or that things are going to be available. Like, we have a lot of evidence that that's not always the case. So I'm pretty regimented in how I eat. I make sure that I eat at specific times so that my blood sugar doesn't get low, so that I'm not just grabbing something that I know is going to make me have that dopamine hit, but isn't good for me. So I always make sure I have protein. So, a lot of restaurants will have this, right? You can just get a plain burger on a salad or something like that, or a burger and vegetables or any type of meat or protein like that. So that's usually available. You can usually pack snacks that are pretty stable. Like you could even keep them in your car, like things like jerky or beef sticks or a protein bar, anything like that. Nuts and seeds are great. So there's so many options. You know, you don't ever have to be without any choice but to go to McDonald's. It's really rare that I would ever be stuck in that place. I'll either plan like, okay, I know I'm going here today. I need to eat before that, or I'm going to pack a shake with me or something to have, even if it's just going to tide me over until that next meal so that I don't have the excuse, well, I didn't pack anything. It's like, nope, I know I always have stuff on hand.
That's so smart. Do you have like, is your refrigerator at home? Do you just like stock it full of like fruits and veggies and things like that to just kind of increase like, I mean, really, it's like what you buy is what you're more prone to eat.
Oh,
too.
Exactly. You're setting yourself up for success or failure based on what you shop for and what you have available to you.
Yeah.
Right. If it's not at your house, you're not going to eat it. So I know for me, some of my foods that I really struggle to portion myself with are like tortilla chips
Yes.
or chocolate. Like I really struggle with those things. Cereal. Like, so I know I just don't buy them.
Yeah.
Or if I do, something that a lot of my patients really find helpful is as soon as they get back from the store, they portion them out. So it's like, okay, I now know I can take this one portion instead of eating from the bag, which is where a lot of problems happen, because before you know it, you've eaten an entire bag of popcorn.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. I do that like regularly. Like the tortilla chips, it's like you were looking downstairs at our island. We have like a big old bag from Costco. I'm like, how did that last like 2 days?
Yeah. No, I can mow down an entire Costco bag of cashews in like 2 days. It's like, I'll just snack a little while I'm cooking. No, I've ruined my entire dinner with cashews. So I know I just can't get those things regularly. Yeah.
I feel like one of the struggles that I have is probably, it could be universal, but a lot of times, fruits, they are so delicious, but they go bad, especially berries. And I know like sometimes people put them in jars or they put them in like solution. Do you have any tips that like could help keep berries fresher longer?
My biggest tip is buy frozen, because they're actually more nutritious.
Oh.
So if you buy frozen fruits or vegetables, they pick them at the peak ripeness and they flash freeze them right there.
Okay.
Versus like when you get the fresh produce, they're picking that underripe. So it's not been able to stay in the soil long enough to get its peak nutrients or be in the sun long enough. So it's kind of this shadow of what it could be. Yeah. And it goes bad faster. Yeah. So I just say get the frozen, because it's also cheaper usually. Yeah. Especially the organic.
Quite a bit. Yeah.
And it lasts a lot longer. I mean, some people don't like the thawing of it and like how it tastes a little different, but I just underthought just a little bit, so it still can maintain its like texture and structure. Yeah. Oh. Otherwise, as far as keeping fruits and vegetables, you don't want to, especially like berries, you don't want to rinse them off until right before you're going to eat them, because the water will make them mold faster. And then just storing them usually with like a little paper towel or something as well can help soak up extra moisture. Okay. And things that help not only with just keeping them longer, but also preventing like microbial overgrowth or parasites or things like that, is to soak them in a vinegar water solution. Okay. It's usually, so the research has looked at a total vinegar solution for 3 minutes. So just 100% like your white vinegar or whatever. And then you just kind of rinse them off, make sure they're dried before you put them away. Or you can do like a 1-to-1 vinegar and water solution for 10 minutes. And that kills like 99% of parasites. So.
Wow. That's fascinating.
Yes. And I've been doing that because I have definitely a parasite history. And I'm like, this is worth doing.
Yeah. Robin and I talk about that kind of regularly. We did a podcast episode about parasites a few weeks ago. It was like I think it was like the second episode of the year. It's like everyone wants to talk about parasites, right?
Yeah, of course. Cleanse.
But it is important, because I don't think that people realize like how many parasites like probably almost everyone in America is dealing with. And people are kind of shocked at like, Robin, like she eats, salads or whatever. And they're like, why do you have parasites? Why do you struggle? And she's like, oh, actually it's because of the fruit and the vegetables. And sometimes she doesn't have the time to do the vinegar soak. Yep. And again, like that is something that people probably run into with time issues of just like, oh, ran out of time to do that. I'm just going to eat it quick. But yeah, is parasites in kind of like almost any kind of fruit and vegetable, would you say?
I say there's a potential for it, but I would also say the fruits and the vegetables can also help you against parasites, because the fruits and the vegetables are some of the best food for your gut bacteria. And they just, they're antioxidants. So you're actually helping your body be strong against parasites by giving yourself fruits and vegetables. So I wouldn't say like, I've heard some people say like, oh, I'll just never eat salads. I'm like, I don't think that's really the answer to that. I think it's just eat them smartly. And then I'm sure what you and Robin talked about was like, do a parasite cleanse semi-annually or whatever. Yep. I think I found that personally for IBS and for my IBS patients. Like I just need to do something like that every 6 months to keep my gut in order. And my gut will tell me if it's time.
Yeah. So, isn't it interesting? Well, I'm going through that right now, actually, myself, where Robin's like, I think you should probably do another one of those cleanses. And I'm like, okay. I feel like it's kind of like never ending for me, that it feels like I'm never going to get rid of these things. Like that's kind of how it feels sometimes.
I would change the perspective on that. And I've tried to do that in my own life. Like, it's not like I'm waiting for my gut to be well and just stay well. It's like, no, this is part of stewarding my temple. It's just kind of like spring cleaning in there, you know, like I just need to stay up on it, and that's just my maintenance. That's what my body needs for maintenance, and that's okay. You know, just accept that, like your car, you know, you're not just like one oil change and then you're good for the rest of the car's life. It's like, nope, we just have to constantly be taking it in and giving it a tune up, and this is part of that. And I would also say too, like, parasites are not, I mean, we don't necessarily want them, right? The idea of a parasite is that it's eating you or, you know, taking from you. But a lot of like native tribes, they're full of parasites, but their gut microbiome is so diverse that they're just part of that flora for them.
Wow.
So I don't think the goal is like to eliminate all parasites. I think it's to give your body enough resources and tools and make it be resilient enough that when you get a parasite, it's not the end of the world and it doesn't knock you completely out. And you can be like, oh, well, I just need to take this medication and I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I like that. I like that reframing. I feel like you're so good at that, at like reframing perspectives and helping people. And because like our minds can limit us so much, and then you can almost shut down, right? And you can be like, I'm not even going to take care of myself. I'm not even going to try to combat this because it's something I'm always going to deal with. And I'm just going to eat whatever I want. You know, like some people are like that, I'm sure.
That's one of the biggest struggles that I've encountered with patients is all or nothing thinking. That's very black and white. Like, well, if I can't do everything perfectly, if I can't follow a diet perfectly, I'm not going to do anything. Because it's this success or fail mindset. And actually, you know, I'm 3 years into being a dietitian now, which feels way longer than that because I've been so in the food world, nutrition world since I was like 15. So it's actually been like 15 years in my mind. But I've realized like it all comes down to the mind. Like, because I tell people exactly what to do. It's not that they don't know what to do, right? Even before they come to me, they kind of know what they should be eating more or less. It's something else. It's why aren't you doing it? That's the question that they need to answer. And then that really needs to be addressed. So I'm actually really getting more into the mental side of things and actually getting a certification in integrated attachment theory right now. Which really works on the subconscious mind stuff that I've been talking about, because I'm just seeing with my patients, it's not about the food. It's not. It's about what are you using food, like the needs, right? Why are you not getting these needs met? What are you using food to substitute in your life? What are you not willing to deal with? And what are these subconscious patterns? I have some patients who have had bad nighttime eating habits for 50 years. And they're like, why can't I stop this? It's like, well, this has been what you've done for 50 years. You're working against 50 years of habit. So give yourself a little grace, but then let's like use our subconscious mind and the strategies that develop that habit to undo that habit, to decondition that.
Oh, I love that. You know, it's so interesting thinking about that, because something that I've been thinking about a lot is even just like in social media, limiting my time on there and like budgeting my time. Like I think that we kind of have this concept of like when you put a budget out there for finances, like, oh, whoa, I'm really like putting a, you know, like a damper on my parade or
it's
whatever,
not
you
fun,
know, like rain on my parade, you know. But honestly, when I did a budget for my money, I realize now, like, oh, I actually have control over like where that money is going. And so now I read a book recently called Practicing the Way by John Mark Comer. And it was so powerful about like Sabbath, and also like, this is my interpretation of his book, but almost like budgeting your time. And like everyone has like the same amount of time. And like for him, he knows that social media is kind of an area of like a weakness for him. So it's like, I still find good benefit of it. So I'm going to allow myself to do 1 day a week of social media. And it's going to be like from this time to this time. And like, that's my time that I can check in. And I've talked a little bit about it on other episodes, but I've been doing like this 24-hour digital detox of like from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. It's like 24 hours, like no digital stuff, like no phone, no laptop. And that's something that has been a huge addiction for me. Here's the cool part. Since I have taken myself away from that, I feel like I am a bird out of a cage. I feel like for the first time in like many, many years, I mean, like we're talking like over a decade, where I feel like a bird out of a cage. And on that day, I feel like, oh, I can read whatever book I want. Oh my gosh, I can clean my pantry today and this feels glorious. Or I can read this magazine. And it has been like so life-giving. Like this January has been so different than last January. Like last January, I was like very depressive, like just really not good. And this year and doing the digital detox has been just like mind blowing. Like I just feel like a free person. And now it's spilling into other days where I'm like, oh, I don't need to spend that much on my computer. And I'm actually like spending time like reading 2 chapters of a book before I go to bed instead of being on my phone. And I feel like free. And so I'm feeling like, you know, just like the way that you budget your time, the way that you budget your money, like you can budget your food too.
Yes.
And I feel that like maybe there's people out there that's like, hey, like maybe you can just like have like you said, like even portioning out your chips. Like if that's something that you like just put a constraint around it. Yep. Like put a few in a bag and then be like, that is my weekly allotment or my daily allotment. But like pray about this.
100%.
You know, like with everything else.
Discernment.
Yeah. And just like kind of like do a evaluation of like what you're eating with the Lord and being like, Lord, like this is how I want to feel. And I know that maybe some of these foods that I'm eating aren't really lining up with like how I want to feel. And like, maybe if I add more of this in, that's going to be better. So I like that you're talking about that, like all or nothing doesn't have to be the way. And actually, I think you're kind of setting yourself up for failure, probably, if you do that all or nothing mentality, because I mean, I'm a very religious, in quotations, person, and I've been able to really execute specific dieting plans. Like, you know, I did the ketogenic diet for a very long time, and I was able to really execute that because I very much am an all or nothing person. I really am. Like at the core of myself, it's just like, oh, if I'm doing no sugar, it really means no sugar. Yep. And I mean, I can just like do that. And after 2 weeks, I feel great. And there is like a part of me that right now I feel like I probably need to go back into that because my body, just knowing it does do better without sugar. It just does.
I would say that's true for everyone.
Yeah. It's hard though. I would say it's probably one of the hardest things to cut out. I noticed that usually after about 2 weeks of cutting out though, I have no desire for it anymore. But it takes that 2 weeks of just really like, nope, you're not going to do that. And I'll usually have like a couple things that just kind of help me get through that. And that's the part that you talked about being planned, like, you know, having a plan, having like nuts, you know, maybe having a few sugar-free chocolate chips. Like I really like the Lily's brand, you know, just having those things like in my arsenal, you know, that if I'm having like a temptation moment where it's like, oh, you can just have a few of those and then feel a little bit better, you know? Yeah. But yeah. Do you have any like insight in that of like yourself of just like budgeting food that you kind of do or?
Oh yeah. I am a researcher. I like specifics. I like numbers. So I actually track my food every day.
Okay.
So I have my calorie budget. I have my protein budget. I have like all these goals I'm trying to meet.
Yeah.
And for me, it's actually freeing. Kind of like you said with your financial budget.
Yeah.
For me, it's good because I'm like, oh no, I have this much to spend on this snack or whatever. Like I have all this left over. Wow. I get to have my chocolate chips or whatever, but in this amount. Right. Yeah. So that's just a way that I steward my temple, just like we steward our finances. Is I know, okay, well, my body works best at this intake. And this much protein is how much I need. I can track it on my smart scale. Oh, am I gaining muscle? How am I doing there? Yeah. So I kind of know. And that's how I really approach it with a lot of my patients. Tracking is not for everyone, and I understand that. And that's not my goal that everybody track. But for me, it's really freeing. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest issues I find with weight management patients, which is a lot of what I do, is people will be maybe not eating terribly as far as quality of foods, but it's just quantity. And especially in the case of obesity, it's like, it's not fair. I put that in quotations, like it isn't fair. Life is not fair, unfortunately. But for some people, that's the cross they have to bear, is like, okay, their body, their metabolism is broken. So their calorie needs are so little because their body is so efficient at storing it. So unless you're tracking that, it's really, really hard for you to be able to see weight loss, to get into a deficit. So tracking is huge for my patients. At least I want them to try it and just see, be aware of how much you're eating. Maybe it is 500 calories more than you need. Okay, that makes sense then why you're not losing weight. Even if you are intermittent fasting, even if you are doing keto, it's like that budget matters. And then I also encourage my patients who really struggle to meet like their protein needs, because a lot of people are under eating protein because that keeps you full and will prevent you from doing all the sugar stuff and all the carbs. So I'll tell them, budget your protein beforehand. So before you eat the meal, before you even start to cook it, budget what you're going to eat, make sure it hits your calories and you're getting enough protein. Because otherwise people will just like track everything at the end of the day and they're like, oh man, I'm just not getting my protein. It's like, okay, well, you are failing to plan. You're just hoping it's going to happen. It's like you're working against years of just being a carbaholic. Like you have to intentionally plan. Yeah. So that's how I kind of budget my own food is before I eat, I put what I want. Am I getting my protein needs? If I'm not, okay, how can I modify this to fit my calorie and protein budget? And then, for some people, especially if they have like diabetes or blood sugar problems, we also add in the carb budget. But, that's kind of how I think about food. And then there's other kind of metrics that I try to hit. Like I try to get 3 to 4 cups of vegetables a day and spread that out through my meals. I try to get 2 cups of fruits a day and spread that throughout my meals. And then the healthy fats just kind of fill in the rest of my calories, like avocado, olive oil, nuts and seeds. For the parasites, I try to get my 2 ounces of pumpkin seeds a day. So that's kind of how I think about food. But I know that's very different than a lot of people think about food. I think, unfortunately, our society is pretty hedonic, right? It's like, well, what do I want now?
Absolutely.
And I'll go get it. Yeah. But so the theme kind of I see running through there, not only with the social media, the food, money, how we spend it, all of that is we're looking for the quick dopamine.
Absolutely.
But what really is satisfying is the slow dopamine. That's when you eat the healthy foods. That's when you do the digital detox and you read a book. That's when you spend quality time with a person instead of just going through your social media feed and scrolling. It's like the slow dopamine, that's where God's at. Yes. I was just thinking that today when the speed limit changed and it was all of a sudden I felt like I was going really slow. I'm like, no, like God slows us down so we can enjoy the moment because he doesn't want us to miss what's happening. Like if you think about anything in scripture or faith or anything like that, how much of that is fast dopamine or a quick dopamine hit? None of it. None of it. So I don't think we function well when that's our mode, that we're constantly just going from hit to hit.
But literally that's how America is programmed. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so like literally like what God is calling us to is so countercultural, right?
So countercultural.
It's just like totally against like that. And like, that's why in the Bible it says like we are going to be different, right?
In the world, but not of it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that it's just like vital that we just like really take the time with all of these things, like just lay our lives like before the Lord and be like help me in every single area, God, because like what we're shown on TV and what I was thinking about, even on social media, like that kind of reinforces the same like eating patterns of the world. So like even what we're consuming like digitally, and then all of a sudden like, oh, you see that advertisement, like, oh, there's an advertisement for Applebee's and look at all that dairy and then look at all that dessert, or whatever. And then to some people, they look at that and then they're just like, oh, I need that right now, because it's literally how it's programmed. In social media, it's like if it's free, then like you are the product and like we are the product. We're the product for all of those advertisements and, even just people posting their photos of, whatever they're drinking or eating. And then it's just like, oh, wow, I need that now too. And it's just like, we need to just like really like process all of this, like with the Lord and just be like, Lord, like help me like to eat in a way that's like honoring to you, honoring to our temple. Right. Because like, I do believe that God like wants us to live long, beautiful lives that we can just like fulfill our call and like that race that we're running with him. But if we're like going with the culture, right, and like what they're telling us to eat, because I mean, I really don't want to tick people off right now, but this is just like what's coming to my mind is just that, last week, like Rob and I chatted about like social media and the distraction, I believe like the food is also, it's a distraction, honestly.
It's a block between you and God.
Yeah.
And true connection with other people.
Think about all of this like man-made food, ultra processed foods, seed oils, like all these things that like we shouldn't be putting in our bodies, but somehow America and the world says it's okay to eat it. And it's just like, if you really think about the harm of those like chemicals and different things that we're putting into our bodies weren't made to process those things. They really weren't. And so it's just so interesting to me that we gravitate towards these things that man made, but it's like, well, what did God make? And it's just like the fruits, the vegetables, like those things that come from the earth, and just like taking time to just like really like process that and be like, whoa, we've gone a far way in our society from like what God intended for food.
I think a theme in all these things we're talking about is like in America and in modern society, we are God. Like everything is to serve us. And I want to maybe add a little bit more nuance here too, though. I think like social media can be good. I see patients, like I think it's about pruning your social media. Make it work for you. You train your algorithm. Don't let your algorithm train you. Like choose to follow people who are living the life that you want to live, eating how you want to eat, working out how you want to work out. Because I have patients who are like, I didn't feel like working out, but I'm following all these TikTokers who are going and working out in the snow anyway. So I went. Or I talk with some of my patients like, how do you get motivated? They're like, actually, social media is super motivating for me. So I think you have to be mindful that you are cultivating it.
Yeah.
What you're getting, fed, not just letting it happen to you. And then on the piece about, the food, right? Like food can be an idol, but food is also so nourishing.
Yes.
Like food can be a source of connection. Yeah. Like cooking your food, teaching your kids how to cook, having a meal with other people. Like how did Jesus encounter people within a meal? Like, fish and loaves, like all of that. Like when he came back from, when he was resurrected, he was, cooking fish for the disciples, you know what I mean? So, and he's the bread of life. Like food is so important.
Yes.
But it's the same as the social media thing where it's like, you have to be choosing it, not just letting it choose, kind of being a slave to it. That's the difference.
I love that.
Freely choosing versus being a slave.
That resonates so deeply because even in this book that I just read, The Practicing the Way by John Mark Comer, he talked so much about Sabbath and doing a Sabbath meal, like to kick it off. So like right at your sundown, then you have a family over or friends over and you do like a Sabbath meal together. Like that's like very like in many books that I've like
sacred.
Seen. Yeah. And I've just like heard of people doing that. I'm like, oh, I need to do that. Like have a Sabbath meal with people and have people over. And he talked about that, about like the best way to connect people is like with a meal. And even just like seeking the lost, like have them over for food. Yeah. And just like connect with the lost
Feeding
that
the
way.
Hungry. Yeah.
Yeah. Because so often like when we're having like even conversations like on the internet and there are like opposing beliefs, which there's a lot of that going on right now. There's so much tension in this country. But when we get in the room with people and have like face-to-face conversations, you hear the heart of people. It's so different than how it's like played out on social media. And again, like what you're saying, that's so important to like, make sure that you're following things that are helping you and not harming you. Unfollow things that aren't. Maybe even unfollow people that you, even for a season. Like it's like if there are things that people are posting that are really like harmful to your mindset or whatever.
Even though they're not bad at the, like just looking at the outside, it's like that's that discernment with the Lord you're talking about, where you bring it to God and say, what do I need though? Yeah. Right. Exactly. This person might be doing great things for themselves, but if that's triggering me, maybe just that's not for me right now.
Yep. Totally. Yeah. And I think that's wise, social media, you can collect, so many friends. Like I think I have like over 1,000. Wow. And it's been many years and many different connections over the years, but it's like so many of those people I don't actually know. And some of those people, it's just like, hey, but I'm not an unfriender. I will not unfriend people because you never know.
Absolutely.
You never know. And you never know when there's going to be a situation.
But you can unfollow, right?
Yes, exactly. And I think sometimes that's a good thing to do, even even just like in the political climate right now, there's just so many things that I'm seeing that are just like harmful for my mentality, where it's just like, oh my goodness, like that is, and God is like giving me this perspective that I can see beyond. Like I still can see their hearts, even though I don't agree with what they're saying.
Yep. You can still love the person.
Absolutely. It's just like when you're, bringing expletives in all the time and like F this party and F this group. It's just like, I don't need to see that all the time, because that gets just like hard, but anyway. I
think for me, something that my spiritual director told me that I keep coming back to is like, are the fruits of the Spirit there? If there's not love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, self-control, and there's a few others, but if those things aren't there,
I can't remember, but I
think there's like 9 of them, but if those things aren't there, it's probably not for you.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good. That's so good. I feel like that's something we can base our whole lives around, and that helps with the discernment too, right?
Yep.
Because when we're struggling with our discernment of like, is this good? Then I love that. Even just like taking those words over the situation and be like, okay, is this kind? Nope. Is this loving? Nope. Is that,
Does
gentle?
Evoke joy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if not, get out. Oh, I love that. Now, I suppose we could kind of do the same thing with food, but unfortunately there's going to be too much food that brings joy in the moment.
Well, yeah. So I would add more color to that too. Like, I think inside of us, we all have a parent, a child, and a teenager, right? You can't let the child be the one choosing your diet every day. Like, you have to also be the parent to yourself. Be like, okay, I know my child in me would choose to have, chocolate milk and cookies every day for dinner. And maybe that's fine once in a while, right? Like, as an adult, you do get that choice, and that is for your freedom, but you have to be the adult, right? And what's actually good for you. Like, just your parents would make you eat vegetables. It's like, okay, you have to make yourself eat the vegetables now. No one's going to be policing you. You're the one who's responsible.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to own that responsibility.
Yeah. Do you have any like big tips? Like when people go to the grocery store, it's like, if you are normally like gravitating towards the things that you've always gotten, but like deep down, they're not like the most beneficial thing for you. Like, how to like come up with like substitutes for those things.
Something that can be helpful is the Yucca app. I think we've talked about that before. It's not perfect, but it's really helpful for people who don't know, like, how do I even start? Well, that app is like a product barcode scanner. So you can just scan the barcode of things, and then it'll tell you, how good it is on a scale of 0 to 100. 100 is the best. And then it'll give you recommendations for better options. So that can be a really easy way for people to go from a good choice, like, okay, it's good that you have food and you're not starving, to a better choice. But the best choices don't even have the barcodes to scan.
Yeah.
So that's kind of also a tip. But be gracious with yourself. It doesn't have to be that all or nothing. Like, oh man, you have to really know yourself. There's a book by Gretchen Rubin that talks about how some people all or nothing, they have to be abstainers. And I have patients like that. Like, they literally cannot do sugar because for them, it is an addiction. It's like they will grab food out of the garbage and eat it, even if they've thrown it away. Like, that's how bad it is. Yeah. So for them, it's just to know. Like, that's how some people have to be with alcohol. So you just have to know yourself, and it may not be all foods, but it may be certain things. Other people.
Sorry, really quick, because it made me laugh. There was this TV show I saw once, and they had to grab like a bottle of Windex and like spray the Windex on the cupcake, because they're like, otherwise, if I just throw it out, like, I'm going to grab it in the trash.
That's actually not a bad idea. So if you need to do that, please do that. Unless you're actually going to eat it, then you're poisoning yourself with Windex. Don't do that. But that's, not a terrible idea. Yeah. But I have other patients where if they try to do all or nothing, that is bad for them, because then they're going to, go down the path and binge. So for those patients, like, I have a patient, they're like, okay, I have my Milano cookie allotment every day. I know I get my Milano cookie at the end of the day. And as soon as we instituted that, now half the time she's like, I actually don't even want it. I don't even eat it half the time. So some people need to have that permission piece. So just knowing that, like, maybe are you going to be an all or nothing person when you want to change, or do you need to just do it in baby steps and still just, like you said, budget that in?
Yeah.
The other things about shopping, I think it's really helpful. Like, if you have had this pattern of you go to the store and when you pass that aisle, you always grab the thing, do grocery pickup. Create your order online when you are not hungry, not stressed, not in a bad headspace. So you're choosing the things that you actually want to have. And then you just go to the store. You don't even go in. They put it in your trunk and then you leave. That eliminates so many of the temptations, you know. So for me, that's a helpful thing I do personally. And then something I recommend to patients. Or, okay, maybe you just need to go to a different grocery store entirely. Like just try it. Just break that habit. You know, so
for
it's
me, that would be Costco because say like Walmart, you know, we have deliveries here, you know, every week, which is super easy. You know, I get my organic chicken and there's a bunch of stuff. And, you know, I follow my meal plan. I have my Sunday through Monday meal plan, and I put all the groceries in my cart, or, you know, at the co-op, I'll write my list for there. But, you know, Costco, that's the problem because, you know, you see all those big pallets, you know, with all those snacks.
Isn't that the American way? Bigger is better.
I know. And they do have great produce there. The other day, oh my goodness.
It's not all bad.
No, they have, oh my goodness. They have so many great options. They have like tuna and like all those
single serve chicken packs. And
yeah, like they'll have like packaged salmon and
hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, they have awesome stuff, but they do have, you know, that very big first section of like all the snacks, you know. And, you know, sometimes I'll get like the made good granola bites, and those are pretty good, and they have like 5 grams sugar, so not crazy. But again, if I'm trying to eliminate all sugar, that's still not going to be helpful for me to get that. So that's something I need to be careful, is definitely like Costco. It's like, okay, like eliminate that whole first section, like just walk right on by. We bought like pomegranates the other day. River's like a huge pomegranate lover, and I do too, but it's just like work to get those things open, you know. And they have, they're massive. Like one of their pomegranates, it like feels like almost like an entire like large glass container, and I'm just like, how is all of that in there? But it's a labor of love, right? To like cut those out. Sometimes I'll buy them at Woodman's, like in the
yes, that's how I prefer to get mine, because I'm like, it's just too messy.
I know, they're expensive though, doing it that way, and she just loves them. So I'm like, oh boy, if anyone has any pomegranate cutting tips, like we feel like we've tried them all though, like the wooden spoon, smacking
that's
it,
the one that I know, but I'm like, this is even really
that's what my husband said. He's like, I've tried it all, and I feel like just cutting it and scooping it out is kind of the best way. But
I wonder if they have frozen pomegranate arrows. I bet they probably do.
I need to look into that, because if they have that I feel like that would be a game changer for us. I need to look that up now. I don't feel like I've seen that anywhere, but it's got to be. Oh, it's got to be somewhere.
You might have to like order it online or something. But I've not seen it either.
Yeah. Well, do you have any other like burning suggestions or things that are just like burning in you today that you want to get out?
I don't know. I think we've covered a lot of good things. And there's just, God wants you to enjoy food. You know, like God wants you to be free, like you feel with social media. He wants people to have food freedom. And that's what I work with on my patients too, because food is a tool. It's a tool that's supposed to support you in doing your mission, in connecting with other people, in glorifying God. You can glorify God with how you feed yourself. Like just think about that. And you're responsible for stewarding your temple. Nobody else can tell you what to do. And it's also not a sin to take the time to care for yourself in that way. I see so many women who also struggle with that, where they feel like it's selfish or it's self-absorbed if they actually eat differently than their family, or say, well, I want to do this. It's like, is that true? I don't think that's true at all. I think, you know, especially for women and mothers, it can be hard where you feel like you're at the bottom of the totem pole, and that to raise yourself up is somehow wrong. But you need to be able to value yourself equally to other people, right? God's command is to love the Lord your God, you know, and then to love your neighbors yourself. Well, that implies you love yourself. So, I mean, taking care of your temple with food is a form of self-love and loving yourself. So that's where I always try to bring it back to people. You know, it's not about the food. It's about that bigger picture.
I love that. I'm so glad you brought that up, because, you know, the last thing we want is people going away from listening to this and feeling like discouraged in any way. Or
ashamed.
Because my goodness, like, I mean, the whole reason I wanted to talk about this is because like the whole last year of, you know, dealing with that grief like a really big way to get through it and just like to comfort myself, like even with like symptoms and health things that I was going through, was to go to certain processed foods that made me feel good, you know,
in that moment.
Yeah. Like even, you know, because gluten-free for me was never hard, you know, really, truly it's not. There's so many great gluten-free options, but again, there's that whole mentality then where I kind of went like, oh, gluten-free. And then now I'm just going to get all these packaged gluten-free items that really are not great, you know, but there's many tasty ones out there, you know, like
gluten-free does not equal healthy.
Oh, absolutely not. No, like gluten-free jalapeno poppers and gluten-free mozzarella sticks, you know, and I mean, my goodness, they, you know, have that kind of like deeply like comforting component to them, you know, and it just like a warm snack, you know, at the end of a day, you know, and it's like, okay, there's other warm things you can do. And I really enjoy like a warm cup of tea at the end of the day. That's like a beautiful way to end the day. And it's very comforting. And my husband's been so sweet. Like a lot of days, like lately, he's just like, do you want a warm cup of tea? And I'm like, yep, absolutely. Robin got me this really cool thing for Christmas. It's like a tea steeper that you can like just lean over your mug and then like put the tea in there, and it's just really nice. And you pull it out after 3 minutes. And so anyway, that just made tea making super simple. So Gary's like all about making me a cup of tea every night, which is just very comforting. So it's like finding those comforting things instead of those like ultra processed, like comfort foods.
I love what you're kind of bringing up there, which is a both and concept. And I try to do that with my patients as well, where it's like, it's not just about no processed foods, no sugar, nothing that's comforting. It's like, how can you have something that's comforting and nourishing? Yeah. So it's like the quick dopamine and the long, slow dopamine.
Yes.
Like that's the goal. And you know, there's so many teas, like you were talking about gut issues. It's like ginger tea, peppermint tea, that are fennel tea, that are super calming for your gut, or like help you fall asleep better. Cause when you are in grief mode, it's hard to sleep. So like chamomile, like there's so many things where it's like, okay, God gave us this food, but it's acting as medicine. It's actually healing. It's the both and, like comforting and healing.
Yes. And that's the key. Like that's the key, is
that's a sweet spot.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, we don't want to, you know, cut everything out in life and then just be sitting there like twiddling our thumbs.
Yeah. Food isn't bad, right?
No.
Like, yeah, God still wants us to enjoy it, I think.
Yeah.
But it's the both and. How can I enjoy my food and have it be stewarding my temple?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm excited to personally be just like diving back into that, of just like really like looking at food differently and being excited about it, but in a way of just like, oh, this is good. And because, oh my gosh, like food is so good.
Yeah.
And there's like so many healthy foods that are just like amazing. Like, you know, but I think I think where it gets hard is like sometimes it just takes a little bit more time to like prep those
or
things.
Planning.
Yeah. And I feel like if you just kind of get that unlocked and just really put the time and dedication into that, that can really like change things for people. Yep. Even, you know, on my Sabbath, instead of like being on the computer, just like going through like recipes or cookbooks and like looking for those healthy things that are going to be like.
What I was just going to say is like that goes so perfectly with taking less time on social media. It's like, okay, look at your screen time.
Yes.
If you just took half an hour a day to dedicate towards food versus, you know, social media,
yes,
the benefits that you're going to reap from that are insane.
Right. And so much more like healthy for you and your family than the 30 minutes of social media ever would have been, you know?
Yeah.
Because like a lot of times it's just like,
that's kind of lost time.
It is.
Like, is that really fruitful? A lot of the time, no.
A lot of the time, no. Right.
It's that whole bucket idea, right? Like you're just putting drops in the bucket versus full blast, the faucet overflowing the bucket.
Yes. Yeah. Is there any like tips that you have for people? Like one thing that just in closing that kind of came to mind is like people who drink like pop. And like want something that's just like gonna be a way to like transition off of that to water. Cause I know like from pop to water is a big jump.
Oh yeah. So again, you have to kind of know yourself. It depends like how much pop are you drinking? Is the only thing that you drink? All those things. For some people, it's just like, okay, well, I'm going to cut my pop intake in half while I find other, alternatives. Zevia is one that a lot of people like. They have more of like the gut health sodas, like the Poppies or
Olipop.
Cove. There's so many different kinds.
Yeah.
Some of those have some sugar still, but it's much better than soda.
Yeah.
So it's finding what you like. Green tea is one that I like because that still has caffeine, but that's got so many health benefits. So it's really about just finding what you like. There's also like flavored waters. So Stir has some flavored water pods. There's some at the co-op that I've seen that are really good. You know, you don't want just a bunch of artificial colors or something like that, but electrolytes. A lot of people don't realize electrolytes are something that they need. They have a lot of good flavors like the Element or salty. So it's all about experimenting and finding what you like. You don't have to just drink water all the time. I don't just drink water all the time. Like you talked about tea. I love tea. I love my electrolytes. So just try to look at it as like a fun new thing. Like I'm going to find fun other drinks that I like.
That.
Because that's an area where a lot of people struggle, especially when it comes to the budgeting, the sugar and the calories is like with the drinks. So it doesn't have to be boring.
Yeah, no, that's funny you say that about the electrolytes because I'm drinking right now. It's the Haya berry electrolytes and they're for kids.
Okay.
And so it's not like super like nutritional or anything like that. And we've kind of realized like, so my body is making 2 different kinds of kidney stones right now. So because of that, I can't have a lot of the high sodium. So I can't have like a lot of the Element right now or anything like that. And so we're just kind of on a journey right now that way. But
one other thing is coconut water. That's usually great.
Yes.
Not a ton of calories, but that's kind of like a natural electrolyte beverage.
Oh, that's smart.
High in potassium, which a lot of people don't get enough potassium.
Yes.
So
I love coconut water. That's a good reminder for me to get more of that because I love it. But the Haya, it's not like super high in anything, but it just like flavors it. And so it makes
you drink
it
more.
Exactly. Yes.
So that's been a hack that I've had to use on myself and that I help other patients with too, if like they're really not hydrating much, because that's another area where we have protein. People are missing out on hydration. So for women, 90 ounces of fluids a day, men 125 ounces a day. Again, you have to kind of plan that until you get acclimated to it. But what helps me is I take that Element packet and I split it up through all of my drinks throughout the day. Like, so it's like 4 or 5 water bottles, because just that little bit of flavor, I mean, research shows that actually makes you drink more.
Yeah. That is smart. I love that. I've never heard of anyone doing that before. Like splitting it up. That is smart. That is really, really smart.
Well, and don't limit yourself. Like you think of electrolytes. Oh, it has to be cold. I put my citrus Element in hot water. It tastes like a warm lemon, something like that. Because in the winter, like right now, I want something warm. So it actually tastes good in the warm water.
Ooh,
you can do that with the flavorings too. Like you can put that in hot water.
I like that. That's a good idea. Yeah, we all are kind of looking for those tips right now. What about fiber? Is there any like people that are struggling with fiber issues that you have like good resources for that?
I would say most, like overwhelming majority of my patients are struggling with fiber. That's where the fruits and the vegetables, right? So are you eating the 3 to 4 cups of vegetables and the 2 cups of fruit? That's number one. Then the nuts and seeds are a great option. So if we look at like heart health, the recommendation would be like 2 ounces of nuts a day. And then maybe like up to 3 tablespoons of flax seeds and or chia seeds a day. So you can use those for like chia seed pudding or anything like that.
Yeah.
Those are great options. Oats, those are great for heart health and for fiber. Especially the soluble kind. Kiwi, that's one of my favorites. They actually, research shows that 2 kiwi a day, because of the soluble fiber, is as effective as psyllium for constipation. So a lot of my IBS patients, I have them, hey, go get some kiwi, and it helps.
Wow.
It's actually changes things for people. Now, if they can't meet those needs with diet, that's where we'd say, hey, that's a supplement that I actually would consider, because it not only helps your gut microbiota, but it also helps you with feeling full. It helps with the cholesterol piece. So there's so many benefits to fiber, but you have to be careful with the type. So if you're somebody who has IBS or gets bloated easily, you don't want like the inulins or the chicories. Those things are going to create more gas in your intestines and cause a lot of issues. But if you're looking at mostly the soluble fibers, those are the things that are most helpful. So like psyllium, but the ones that I found that are the most tolerated, especially by people with gut issues, are something called sun fiber, which is partially hydrolyzed guar gum. That's really well tolerated. And then Orthomolecular has a new one that's really nice. It's a blend of a bunch of them, and it's got like a kiwi mango flavor. So Dr. Gehring, actually, that's her nighttime drink. She has that in a little hot water, but that's a good one that's low fermentation too.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to go get some kiwis right now because
I'm actually going to go shopping after this and get kiwi too. I'm out.
Are
so
you?
yeah,
I feel like I need to run to the co-op right now and get some of those because that sounds good. I haven't had a kiwi in so long. So awesome. And you are taking new patients at your clinic?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And do you do any virtual visits for people who are not near the Chippewa Falls area?
I do. And it depends on where they live. So like I'm not licensed in Minnesota, but I am licensed in several states or able to see patients in several states. So I can do phone visits, Zoom visits, or in person. And then I also do some insurance. I see some insurance patients as well via Fay Nutrition.
Okay.
So then I can see patients virtually pretty much in like 16 states, like Arizona,
awesome.
California, New York, Texas, all kinds of states. So I do that too. So I have my hand in a lot of little things, but I just want more people to get that food freedom.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. And I hope that people reach out to you if they are just feeling like they need that extra help because, neither one of us claims that this is easy.
No, absolutely not.
And sometimes you just need that hand to hold along this process of like, hey, I need some additional help and support because, and even how you talked about all of that tracking and, just teaching people that and like really being like a hands-on help. And you know what, the really cool thing too is like when people see you, it's not like this commitment of just like, oh my goodness, it's going to be like 1,000 visits. It's just like your goal is to like give them the information that they need so that they can like just walk this out and then go on and live and do it.
I want to teach them to fish, not just give them a fish.
Yeah. So I hope people reach out and thank you so much for sharing your time with us today and talking about this. I feel like just, I don't know, invigorated and excited to just like kind of get back to the basics because I feel like sometimes we just need that in our lives of just like that remembrance of like
a reset.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you mind just like praying and closing for people in this area?
Oh, I would love to.
Awesome.
That would be awesome. All right. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the gift of food, that you gave us this beautiful gift to nourish not only our bodies, but also our mind.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. If you liked what you heard, make sure you share it with your friends and also subscribe so when we do release a new episode, you will be the first to know it.
And please be sure to like us on Instagram and Facebook. We also have a new Facebook group where you guys can come in and dive into conversation with us, ask us questions. So we would love to see you there as well.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you there.